Hey everyone, welcome back to MangaMinute. I'm thrilled to share my latest recap video with you. If you missed the previous one, no worries, just take a quick peek in the description below for the link. Now, let's dive right in and enjoy.
As the participants gathered in the center of the arena, a palpable tension filled the air. Jayla, representing the giant bear guild, exuded a brute force that matched his towering physique. His posture, broad and intimidating, carried the weight of his guild's reputation for raw power. His confidence radiated through his every move, an unshakable belief in his strength. His behavior, though, revealed an almost primitive simplicity, one that seemed to define his guild's philosophy of crushing opponents through sheer might without a need for intricate tactics. On the other side of the arena, Travis, a member of the Elf Guild, watched Jayla with sharp, analytical eyes. He stood calm, his elven senses honed by years of training. His mind dissected the giant's demeanor, finding Jayla's approach to be overly simplistic. Muscular strength alone, Travis thought, was never enough in a competition of this caliber. Jayla, to him, seemed more like cannon fodder, an obstacle easily outmaneuvered with wit and agility rather than brute force. Travis's attention then shifted toward another participant, Yi, the sole representative of the recently established Card Guild. The Card Guild, while newly formed, had garnered some attention for their role in aiding the Sword Saint Guild during the invasion of the Six Pillar Demons. Yet, in Travis's estimation, they remained a second-rate organization, propped up by their alliance with the Sword Saints. Yi, their president, appeared out of place amidst such seasoned competitors. In Travis's cold analysis, the Card Guild posed no real threat. Finally, Travis's thoughts landed on Ching, the Blue Sword, from the renowned Sword Saint Guild. Among all the participants, it was Ching who commanded Travis's respect. The reputation of the Sword Saints and Ching's personal skill were enough to signal a formidable opponent. In this competition, Ching was the only true challenge in Travis's eyes, a dangerous adversary, capable of standing against the cunning and strength of all who faced him. Jayla wasted no time in initiating the competition, his massive frame launching forward with terrifying speed as he charged directly at Ching. His battle cry echoed across the arena, his intent clear: overwhelm his opponent with raw power. Each step reverberated through the ground, his aggression unrestrained as he closed the distance with remarkable speed for someone of his size. Meanwhile, Travis remained calm and calculated. With a smooth motion, he drew 3 arrows from his quiver, his sharp eyes locked onto his targets. He assessed his opponents with cold detachment, considering Jayla's wild charge as little more than a brutish display of force. His fingers released the bowstring in a swift movement, sending the arrows flying toward his 3 rivals with practiced precision. Ching and Yi, however, reacted with effortless grace. Both skillfully evaded the arrows, their movements fluid and precise, leaving the projectiles to bury themselves harmlessly in the arena's dirt. Jayla, true to his brute nature, did not dodge. Instead, he caught the arrows mid-flight with a growl of irritation, his massive hands snapping them in half with ease, his expression darkening as his gaze turned toward Travis. Despite the arrows missing their targets, Travis remained unfazed. The true nature of his attack had yet to reveal itself. The moment the arrows struck the ground, they transformed. From the points where they had landed, vines began to sprout and twist, rapidly growing into thick, writhing tendrils. In an instant, the arena floor was alive with greenery as the vines coiled around Jayla, Ching, and Yi, seeking to ensnare them in their grasp. Though Jayla had boasted of his strength, Travis's attack was far from over, his strategy now unfolding in full force. Travis observed Jayla with a sharp, mocking glint in his eyes. To him, Jayla's brute force and lack of refinement were the very weaknesses that would lead to his downfall. Jayla, unfazed by the vines wrapping around his limbs, responded with pure aggression. His body tensed as he summoned his fierce ram technique, muscles bulging as he attempted to break free from the twisting tendrils. The ground shook beneath him as he prepared to unleash his full power, determined to crush the entangling vines with sheer might. But no matter how hard he struggled, the vines responded in kind. With every forceful movement Jayla made, more vines sprouted from the ground, wrapping tighter around his arms and legs. His initial confidence began to waver as he felt the constricting plants refusing to yield to his strength. Panic flickered in his eyes as the realization struck him. He was being immobilized. The vines were no ordinary plants. Travis had carefully chosen them, knowing full well the nature of their reaction. Upon any attempt to break them, the vines shrank and released a thick, sticky fluid that further entangled their victim. Jayla's struggle only intensified his entrapment. What had started as a display of brute force now devolved into a desperate attempt to free himself, but each movement only seemed to tighten the trap around him. As Jayla became more and more ensnared, Travis watched with a cruel sense of satisfaction. His strategy had worked flawlessly, exploiting Jayla's reliance on raw power to subdue him in a way that brute strength could not overcome. While Jayla struggled against the relentless vines, Ching, the blue sword, remained calm and composed. With a swift, practiced motion, he reached for the hilt of his sword. In a single, fluid movement, his blade flashed through the air, cutting through the entangling grassroots with ease. The vines fell away as if they were nothing more than paper before his sword, unable to keep pace with his blinding speed. Travis watched with narrowed eyes, his mind racing as he analyzed Ching's movements. The speed at which Ching had freed himself from the trap was astonishing, so fast, in fact, that even the quick-reacting vines couldn't ensnare him in time. Ching's calm demeanor in the face of Travis's attack only served to deepen the elf's frustration. With a cool expression, Ching acknowledged the destruction of the vines, but his tone held no malice. For Travis, however, the sight of his carefully laid trap being cut down so effortlessly stoked a fire within him. His provoked pride flared, and his mind shifted to thoughts of how defeating such a skilled opponent would elevate his own reputation. Determined to take down Ching, Travis swiftly prepared his next move. Drawing upon his magic, he conjured his violent butterfly dance, a deadly volley of enchanted arrows. With precise motions, he unleashed a flurry of shimmering projectiles toward Ching, each arrow imbued with magic, dancing unpredictably through the air. The arrows moved like a swarm of butterflies, fast and erratic, their paths seemingly random but deadly in their precision, all aimed at the blue sword. With serene focus, Ching, the blue sword, entered his state of pure clarity. His murmured words echoed like a mantra. No fears, no doubts, no surprises, no confusion, selfless state. In that moment, he became one with his sword, every movement precise and effortless. As Travis's magic arrows surged toward him at incredible speed, Ching responded with his blue bird technique. His sword cut through the air, swift and graceful, slicing the incoming projectiles with such precision that they dissolved harmlessly mid-flight. But the reach of the technique did not end there. Ching's blade, imbued with a refined mastery of his art, extended beyond the arrows, cutting through the distance between him and Travis. In a single, fluid motion, the technique severed Travis's hand, leaving him in stunned disbelief. Travis's eyes widened in shock, his mind reeling. How did this happen? A moment ago, he had been confident in his attack, yet now, kneeling before Ching, he felt the bitter sting of defeat. Ching stood over him, sword pointed steadily at the elf, his expression as calm as ever. In that moment, the fight seemed over, with Travis left to confront the undeniable reality of his loss. Yet, even in his humbled state, Travis refused to fully surrender. His pride as a genius of the Elf Guild burned too fiercely. Though acknowledging Ching's superiority, he clung to his own identity as a formidable opponent. With a mocking scoff, he invoked his final technique, butterfly explosion. The arena erupted in a massive burst of energy, the explosion shaking the very ground beneath them. But Ching's instincts were sharp. Even in the face of such overwhelming force, his reaction was swift. He crossed his arms in a defensive stance, his body instinctively moving to shield himself from the blast. Though the explosion pushed him back several steps, his quick reflexes spared him from a fatal injury. As the dust settled, Ching remained standing, his calm composure unbroken despite the fierce attack.